prayer without stopping anything. I just change my intention and then make the intention to follow the imam of that congregational prayer. According to Shafi'i, this salah will be valid unless it happens to be one of the following. That means except 3 cases, this type of salah for the follower will be valid, even if that person started his or her salah before and he is or she is still in the prayer by himself or herself, but starts following the imam. So this salah will be valid, but there are 3 exceptional cases. That means, so those 3 cases, that salah will be invalid. That's what it means. Okay, what are those cases? Number 1 is the Friday prayer, Salatul Jum'ah. That means if somebody starts a prayer, let's say, thinking that there is no Jum'ah prayer, okay, because there was nobody in the masjid. Maybe I think some of you already know that in many masajid, for example, in the United States, they have certain times to hold the congregational prayers other than the adhan time. Let's say if the adhan is, for example, 1:15, right, 1:15 p.m. for Salatul Dhuhr, they set a time for a time period. They say, okay, yes, this is the adhan time, okay, but Iqamah time is 1:30. That means the fard will start at 1:30. Okay, so that means they are not starting the salah right away after the, right after the adhan being called. They are setting a time for convenience because people may not be able to keep track these changes every day. So they say, during the summer, for example, the Salatul Zuhr will always be at 1:30 p.m., for example. And the Salatul Asr will always be at 5 p.m., something like this. Anyways, so the person, went to a masjid and then he saw nobody, although it is Friday, and then it's already the time for Salatul Dhuhr, and he is expecting to see the Salatul Jum'ah, but he sees nobody because they have a different starting time. Anyways, I'm just making this up, based on what is being said here. And then I start my Salatul Dhuhr because if there is no Jum'ah prayer, right, Salatul Jum'ah, I have to do at least my Salatul Dhuhr, depending on, my situation. And then I find out that people keep coming, and then eventually they start Salatul Jum'ah, something like this. And then in this case, if I continue my Salatul Dhuhr and then change my intention to join the Salatul Jum'ah, okay, then that is not acceptable according to Shafi'is and Hanbalis. That means you have to make the intention to perform the Salatul Jum'ah from the very beginning. That's what it means. Number 2, a prayer being joined with another in advance. So this is basically a Jam'u Salah, right? That's why I put these notes here. Jam'u Salah, either you do taqdeem or ta'khir, basically. That's what it means. A prayer being joined with another. That means you are joining or combining Salatul Dhuhr and Salatul Asr, or you are combining Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha, because a rainstorm is about to break out. Okay, so we wouldn't normally combine the Salah, right, other than legitimate reasons. But as we see, there is a legitimate reason here that is being mentioned. at least according to majority of the madhahib. Why? Because a rainstorm is about to break out. So you already know from the weather forecast that saying that there's going to be severe thunderstorm and rainstorm, something like this. And then the Jama'ah decides to join the two salah, whether it's Salatul Dhuhr and Salatul Asr. They are going to join those two, and then, or they are joining Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha because of this legitimate reason. So that means if people are combining the salah and you are basically joining the salah this way while you are in your own prayer, so that salah will be invalid for the follower because he or she did not make the intention at the very beginning. And the third case, an exceptional case, is that a prayer that is being repeated. So what is it like? What is the prayer that is being repeated? That means there was something that happened that invalidated the salah. Okay, so that means you. It was too late to make sehu sajda, forgetfulness, prostration of forgetfulness, and that means you have to repeat the salah because you neglected certain pillars of the salah, right? So that means the salah is not valid. So that means the entire congregation must repeat the salah. So that means you cannot join the repeated salah by changing your intention that you already started by yourself, and then you are changing your intention to join the salah that is being repeated. Kaza namazına iştirak etmiş olma açısından. In these situations, a person must intend to follow the imam's lead from the very beginning. So let's summarize this. Above, what we saw was, according to Hanafi and Maliki, right? They already said that you have to make the intention from the very beginning. That means they don't even consider any exceptional cases. Hanafis and Malikis say that you must have the intention from the beginning as a follower, so that your salah is valid when you are following an imam. Shafi'i and Hanbali, they do have some difference in terms of generalizable applicability of the situation, and also some exceptions. Since they have those exceptions, saying that Salatul Jum'ah and then Jam'ul Salah, and also Salatul Qadha, so you are repeating the Salah, basically. In those situations, it is invalid, so that means you must have intended to follow the Imam from the very beginning. Check the text. Okay, so I think my voice is a little bit weak. Probably it might be the case. Let me change. How about now?
I think it was already okay and same. I mean,
It's very clear. It's very clear. No problem.
It was clear already.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for alerting me. I didn't know. I'm aware actually, but sometimes I'm forgetting. And then let's see what else. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. So is that clear for everybody? Any questions, any comments on this? With respect to changing the intention of the follower of the Jama'ah in the middle of the prayer to join the congregational prayer. Any questions, any comments on this? Do you guys need any clarification? Anything? Please let me know.
But a different example. I don't know if it is maybe even directly related or not. In some mosques, I came across a couple times where I could not reach the Maghrib congregation. Like it was maybe 10-15 minutes after prayer had started. So I saw another Jama'ah performing prayer. I joined them as if it was a Maghrib prayer. But later it turned out that they were kind of combining the Isha prayer jam. And so I had to repeat my prayer, but I don't know if that is considered to be as a qaza prayer, or maybe totally invalid, or maybe as some people realized, they just, because there were some other people as well, they left prayer, I believe. I'm not remembering wrong.
Okay, I think I understood what you're saying. So you thought that they were making Salatul Maghrib?
Yes, but actually they had already done Maghrib and they were performing Isha right after.
Yes, yeah, they did the takdim basically.
Takdim, okay, jam.
Yeah, they were jamming, combining the two salah. They were making the Salatul Isha at the time of Salatul Maghrib.
Yes.
Earlier, right?
Yes.
And you joined them thinking that they were performing Salatul Maghrib.
Yes.
So let's apply to this text right now. So according to Hanafi and Maliki, that means you must have. But this is a little bit different situation. So, this is a little bit different because this is basically that you already started the salah by yourself, and then you notice a jama'ah, is happening, and then you are changing your intention, something like this. So, but your situation is totally different. Rulings of joining the salah, whether or not they are making the prayer of the time or they are doing the jam'u salah, basically. Probably we're going to read that later, inshallah. But as far as a question, I believe it's not agreed upon valid. According to some madhahib, I believe your salah will be valid. You don't have to repeat it. But I believe it's not Hanafi, agreeing with this, but maybe other madhahib. I know that because some brothers are doing that. I mean, when I say brothers, like some imams, I saw that. So because you are making your intention, because of the assumption that you are in the time of Salatul Maghrib, so of course you would naturally think that they were making Salatul Maghrib. That's why you joined them, and your intention is to make Salatul Maghrib too. For this reason, it may be validated, but again, I'm gonna put a question mark just to be cautious on this one. Probably, perhaps we're gonna see that section later on. Or if anybody knows the answer, with certainty, you can share with us. Does anybody want to answer to this question? Okay, I think maybe.
Yet the funny part was after I realized that they were doing Isha, and I completed with them, but it was a little bit crowded mosque, and I saw another Jama'ah going on, and I thought they were doing Maghrib. I joined the second one, and they were also doing Isha, so spent a little bit about trying to join actual Maghrib Jama'ah, but couldn't. Like in the third, I said, okay, I'll be doing it myself then.
So as I can see, so this happened to you twice on the same night,
Yes.
right? So this is hardship, right? This is hardship.
Yes.
So, like my intellect, my consciousness, actually, my consciousness is telling me that you should not be going through this much of hardship because of these technicalities. I believe your salah is valid because you joined the salah once and then you find out that they were making Salatul Isha, but you were supposed to make Salatul Maghrib. And then after finishing that salah, you joined another one thinking still that they were making Salatul Maghrib. They also happened to be making Salatul Isha. So this is a lot of hardship, right? There is no hardship in Islam. We shouldn't be making a hardship for ourselves, right? So it shouldn't be. I think we can say that your salah was already valid in the first place. So again, I'm just voicing my opinion, not necessarily claiming.
Allahu alam.
Allahu alam. Inshallah. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so in these situations, a person must intend to follow Imam's lead from the very beginning. So when we say, you see my note here in the parentheses, I said from the very beginning of the follower's prayer. And here it says, a person must intend to follow the Imam's lead from the very beginning, but very beginning of what? Very beginning of the follower's prayer. Follower's prayer, not the Imam's, basically. Since you did not make the intention from the very beginning for somebody to follow the Imam, that's why that salah is invalid. So that means it is essential to make the intention from the very beginning. I think we can relate this to the most like commonly known hadith that says innamal a'malu binniyat, right? This hadith, according to this hadith, so your action, your performance will be evaluated based on the intention you made. If the person has not made the intention from the beginning, that's why the outcome will be accordingly. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you as well. Okay, and then next one, the Hanbalis. So the section here we just read was about the Shafi'is. That's the ruling of the Shafi'is. What about the Hanbalis? Hanbalis maintain that in order for the prayer of someone being led by an imam to be valid, he or she must intend to follow the imam except in two situations. That means that person must have intended to follow the imam from the very beginning, so that that person's salah will be valid. Now, what are the exceptions? That means in these exceptional situations, it will be invalid. Okay, what are those situations? When there are other individuals who arrived and began praying before him or her. Okay, so that means some people arrived before you, and then they started making the salah before you started the salah. That means you already know that the jama'ah started. Okay, but instead of following the imam, you are just making your own salah. whatever the reason is. In this case, he or she may follow the lead of someone else who began to pray before he or she did, provided that it is not the Friday prayer. Okay, so according to Hanbali, let's understand this. According to Hanbali, for the prayer of someone being led, for the follower, okay, the prayer of the follower will be valid. To be valid, I mean, that person must intend to follow the Imam in general. But there are exceptional situations, and one of the exceptions is that when there are other individuals who arrived and began praying before him or her. In this case, that means that salah will be invalid. In this case, if this is the case, he or she may follow the lead of someone else who began to pray before he or she did prayer, provided that it is not the Friday prayer. So the Friday prayer is an exception here. That means that person, in this case, may follow the lead of someone else who began to pray before he or she did. Number two, when someone residing in a given location, person A, for example, follows the lead of someone who is a traveler, person B, so that like mukim and musafir, right? Someone residing in a given location, that means a mukim person, follows the lead of someone who is a traveler, who is a musafir, and who is shortening prayer as a result, because normally a musafir person, the traveler, right, is allowed, has the permission to shorten the prayer. Instead of 4 rak'ah, right, you can make the 2 rak'ah as a result. In this case, person A, which is the mukim person, the resident person, may follow the musafir's or the traveler's lead in what remains of the prayer after the imam has finished. So these are the exceptional cases that not making the intention at the very beginning, okay, will be allowed, will be permissible. Okay, because normally it says in order for the follower's prayer to be valid, normally that the follower must intend to follow the imam. That means from the very beginning. But it may be permissible to make the intention afterwards. That means after the congregation's salah started, okay, while in your prayer. So those exceptional cases are here, basically. Okay, so these were the footnotes, and we can continue our text from here. According to the Malikis, the Imam's conscious intention to lead others in prayer is required in all prayers. Now, this is about Imam situation. What we read before was about the followers situation. What about the Imam? According to Maliki Madhab, the Imam's conscious intention to lead others in prayer is required. Imam is required to have the intention to lead the Jama'ah in the prayer. In all prayers, according to Malikis, okay, whose validity depends on their being performed communally. Namely, Friday prayer, because the Friday prayer cannot be made individually. It has to be a congregational or communal prayer. Number two, the sundown, which is the Maghrib, Salatul Maghrib, and the evening prayers, Salatul Isha, when they are being joined in advance in anticipation of rain. Like because of the severe weather situation, it may be permissible to join two prayers like Salatul Maghrib, Salatul Isha. Okay. In this case, that means all prayers, whatever it depends on. Yes. That means the intention must be in place by the Imam, that the Imam must have the intention to lead both consecutive prayers, Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha, back to back, consecutively. And then number three, the prayer of fear, Salatul Khawf, the prayer of fear. And number four, the prayer of delegated leadership. So what is delegated leadership? Delegate, yani birisine bir iş buyurmak, emretmek ya da ona devretmek manasına geliyor, delegate. What does it mean? A prayer during which the Imam has to step aside for some reason. For example, when the Imam's wudu is broken, right? Either he started bleeding or he passed gas accidentally. So that means the Imam has to step aside. Yan tarafa çekilmesi lazım. And allow one of the worshippers, one of the followers being led in prayer to step forward to take his place. So when this happens, of course, the Imam steps aside, and then the followers right behind the Imam probably will understand the situation, and then he's going to step forward and then replace the Imam. So in this case, again, there must be an intention to lead the Salah for the Jama'ah. He was initially a follower, right? Because he was among the Jama'ah. But since the Imam stepped aside because he lost his wudu, right? That's why now he is becoming the Imam. He was he was a follower a minute ago or 10 seconds ago, and now he becomes the Imam of the Salah. So that person must intend to lead the rest of the people in the Salah. According to Malikis, if the Imam fails consciously to intend to lead others in situation one above, that means for Salatul Jummah, right? Now, number one here is the Friday prayer, Salatul Jummah. So what's happening here? Imam is failing to intend to lead others consciously. He is aware. He is aware of the situation, and he is not intending to lead the others for Salatul Jummah. That prayer becomes invalid. That means the Friday prayer or Salatul Jummah becomes invalid both for the Imam and for those he is leading. So that means nobody's Salatul Jummah will be valid because of what Imam didn't do. So Imam did not intend to lead the others for Salatul Jummah consciously, and he did that consciously. In this situation, there is no Salatul Jummah for anyone. That means Salatul Jummah is invalid. If this occurs in situation 2, that means Salatul Jamu Salah is taking place. That means two prayers are being joined, are being performed consecutively. For example, Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha, right? So if this occurs in situation 2, that means if the Imam fails consciously to intend to lead others in situation 2, that is a combined performance of the sundown and evening prayers in advance. Then the second prayer, which is the Salatul Isha, right, is invalidated. Salatul Maghrib will be valid, okay, but Salatul Isha, the second one, will be invalidated. If it happens in situation 3, which is the Salatul Khawf, the prayer of fear, the prayer is invalidated only for the first group of those being led. Can somebody remind us what is Salatul Khawf? What is that referring to? Buradaki korku namazı dediğimiz namaz, hani savaş esnasında ayete göre 2 rekat, öyle durumlarda 2 rekat namaz kılınıyor. We make only 2 rak'ah in that situation, but it's performed a little bit differently. The first group, holds the prayer congregationally, and then when they finish the first rak'ah, so they go back, and then they let other group make another rak'ah, basically. So during this time, you have 2 groups, basically, right? 2 jama'ah, 2 groups of followers. That's why it is talking about first group. That's how I understand. Do you agree with me on this? Yes, no, maybe. Burayı ben doğru böyle anlıyorum. Doğru anlıyor muyum? Siz de öyle anlıyor musunuz? Bana katılıyor musunuz? Onu soruyorum. 3 numaralı madde. The prayer of fear. The prayer is invalidated only for the first group of those being led, while it remains valid for the Imam and the second group. The reason for this is that as the prayer of fear was begun, the beginning of a prayer being the appropriate time for intention, the Imam failed to intend to lead the group, thereby invalidating both his prayer and theirs. With the second group, however, the time for intention will already have passed. Hence, the requirement of intention for the validity of his prayer and theirs no longer applies. Because the intention must have been made at the beginning when the first group, held the prayer with the Imam. The prayer of fear consists of 2 rak'ahs performed in a time of war. Burada da yazıyormuş zaten. Evet. The prayer of fear, Salatul Khawf, consists of 2 rak'ahs performed in a time of war, first by one regiment, then by another, for fear that they wouldn't be able to fend off an attack by the enemy if they were all praying at the same time. Savaş esnasında bütün herkesin aynı anda cemaatle namaz kılması tabii ki mümkün değil, mantıklı da değil. O yüzden ayete göre bir grup namaz kılarken diğer grup korumaya devam etmesi gerekiyor, savunmaya. Ondan sonra bir rekatı tamamlayınca ilk grup, diğer grup da geliyor. Ayrıca bir namaz, yani bir rekatlık namaz kılmış oluyorlar. Bu şekilde bir namaz. As for situation number 4, what was number 4? The prayer of delegated leadership. That means this Imam had to step aside because he lost his wudu. And then someone from the Jama'ah assumes the leadership or responsibility, and then he becomes the imam. If the stand-in imam, bu imama stand-in deniyor yani. Yani imamın yerine geçen kişi intends to lead the prayer, it will be valid both for him and for those being led who began to pray before he stepped in as imam. Whereas if he fails to consciously intend to lead the prayer, it remains valid. Just a moment. All right, sorry about that. I had to answer a question. Okay, now let me go back. The prayer of the delegated leadership, if the standing imam intends to lead the prayer, it will be valid. Why? Because he makes the intention to lead the salah, because the imam had to step aside. Now he is the imam of the salah. He already made the salah as the imam to lead the prayer for the jama'ah, for the followers. Whereas if that person who is replacing the imam consciously fails, if he is aware that he is not intending to lead the salah or the jama'ah, it remains valid for him, but is invalidated for all those being led. Yani kasıtlı olarak, bilinçli olarak cemaate imamlık yapmaya niyet etmezse, imamın yerine geçtiği halde, onun için namaz, onun şahsı için namazı geçerli olur, fakat cemaati için o namaz geçerli olmaz. Eğer bunun farkına varırsa cemaate namazlarını tekrar etmesini söylemesi gerekir bu duruma göre. That's why I understand from this sentence. Any questions, any comments? Anytime. You don't need a permission to speak. Anytime you can turn on your microphone and share as you wish. Okay? All right, so it looks like you just want me to continue. According to the Hanafis, there is only one situation in which it is necessary for an imam to consciously intend to lead others in prayer, namely, the situation in which a man is leading women in prayer. So that means there is one man who is the imam, and that imam is leading women in prayer. Women. In such a case, the imam's intention to lead is required for the validity of the women's emulation of him due to the corruption which inevitably results from men and women praying side by side, a situation which will be discussed in more detail below. According to Hanafi, in which it is necessary for an imam to consciously intend to lead others in prayer. Yani Hanefi'ye göre eğer kadınlara imam yapacağını biliyorsa, yapacaksa o zaman onlara imamlık yapmaya bilinçli olarak niyet etmiş olması gerekiyor.
Bu şunu, pardon böldüm de.
Evet.
Bu şuna cevap verir mi? Bireysel bir kişi namaza başlatsa, arkasında bir yani erkek birisi dokunup böyle hani böyle bir cemaat devam ettirme, bilmiyorum zaten hani doğru bir şey mi yanlış bir şey mi de, bayanda olmayıp erkekte olabilmesini doğrulamış olur mu? Bu baştan niyet etmemiş olması, sonradan imam olarak devam etmesi şeklinde olan bir durum için yani.
Yani o zaten bildiğim kadarıyla Hanefi'ye göre olmasa bile Şafii'ye göre bildiğim kadarıyla birisi kendi başına namaz kılarken arkadan birisi gelip onun omzuna dokunup ona işte cemaat olduğunu bildirmesi anlamına geliyor bu. şey yaparsa o zaman o uyan kişi hangi namaza niyet ediyorsa onun namazı ondan geçerli olur. O namaz kılan, omzuna dokunulan kişi belki sünnet de kılıyor da olabilir. Yani dolayısıyla tabi olan kişinin niyeti onun için farz olan namazı kılmak değilse şayet o namazı kılmış sayılıyor. Yani o mezhebin görüşüne göre. Zannediyorum Şafii olsa gerekti. Yani o zaten var. Ama eğer e, eğer imam e, diyelim burada side by side diyor, yani yan yana. Öyle bir şey geçmişti zannediyorum burada. Ne diyor? Which inevitably results from men and women praying side by side. A situation, okay. Yani buradaki imamın kadın cemaate imamlık yapmış olma şeyi niyet açısından bu bir gereklilik, bir şart olmuş oluyor Hanefi'ye göre. Hanefi'ye göre kadınlara e, imamlık yapmayı niyet etmiş olması şartı var Hanefi'ye göre. Sorunuzu ben es geçmiş oldum mu yoksa cevap oldu mu?
Şöyle cevap da oldu da hani ben şöyle manayla söylemiştim, atıyorum evde hani eş sonradan geldiğini fark edip imam olarak devam etme durumu olabilir mi mesela? Yani e, netice itibariyle baştan eğer öyle niyet edilmediyse gibi
Evet, Hanefi'ye göre olmuyor.
olmuyor. Hı hı. Ama erkek biri gelip dokunduğu zaman olmuş oluyor. Yoksa o sadece Şafii'ye göre miydi?
Yani şöyle uyan açısından zaten kendi başına namaz kılan insan açısından onun için namaz olmuş oluyor zaten. Ama uyan açısından yani sonradan gelen bir insan tabii baştan tek başına namaz kılan bir insan o anda arkasında kimse olmadığının farkında. Öyle başlamış oluyor kendi başına. Başka sonradan kimsenin gelip gelebileceğini de bilmiyor o anda. Ama diyelim birisi çıktı geldi, omzuna dokundu ya da omzuna dokunmasa da bir şekilde yani hissettirdi ona uyduğunu filan. Diyelim sesli bir şekilde tekbir aldığı gibi yani. O zaman o uyan kişinin namazının geçerli olması söz konusu bildiğim kadarıyla. İşte olur mu olmaz mı? E, Şeye göre, Şafii mezhebine göre o uyan kişinin namazı geçerli olur. E, O namaz kılan kişinin hangi namazı kıldığına bağlı olmaksızın. Çünkü bilemez ki o namaz kılan, önceden namazı başlamış olan kişinin ne kıldığını, sünnet mi kılıyor yoksa farz olan namazı mı kılıyor, onu bilmesi mümkün değil. E, Dolayısıyla yani o mezhebe göre o kişinin yani cemaat olarak sonradan uyan kişinin namazı geçerli oluyor. Zaten bununla ilgili hadisler olduğu için onu kaynak olarak kabul ediyor. Demek ki Şafii mezhebi zannediyorum Şafii olsa gerekti. E, Dolayısıyla onu referans alarak o namazın geçerli olduğunu hükmediyorlar. Kim için? Uyan kişi için. Uyan kişi için.
Hocam bir şey söyleyebilir miyim?
Güzel. Buyur.
Biz kış kampındayken bir arkadaşımızın eşi erkeklerle cemaat olup namazda başladıklarında eşi ve arkadaşlar ben de gittim, eklendim. Daha sonra dedim ya benim biraz içime kuşku düştü. Acaba hani sen oluyorsun ama biz oluyor muyuz? Hani ben onun da olduğunu düşünmüştüm doğrusu hani eşi olduğu için. Bir sorar mısın dedim eşine hani bayanlara da niyetini alıyor mu? O da demiş eşine sormuş ben her zaman namaza başlarken farza bayanları da alıyorum niyetime demiş. Aslında böyle olsa evde de kolaylık olmaz mı?
Tabii ki. Tabii ki. Yani zaten orası öyle bir şeyin olabileceğinin en çok yani ihtimal olarak geçerli olduğu bir yer. Ev ortamı. E, Kaldı ki bunu işte o türlü kamp gibi ortamlarda veya işte insanlar açık yerlerde de bu şekilde olabileceğini ihtimal şey yaparak e, düşünmek evet o daha şey pratik açıdan. E, Ama işte tabii bu acaba bütün mezheplerin kabul ettiği bir şey mi? Yani hani faraza belki olur gelirdi diye. Çünkü normalde imam işte namaza başlamadan önce arkasına yani cemaate döner. Arkasındaki cemaati görür. İşte hanımların olup olmadığını fark eder ve bilir her neyse. Ya da normalde o camiye, o mescide zaten vakit namazlarına kadınlar geliyordur. Yani öyle bir durumda zaten o onu bildiği için yani bilinen bir şey olduğu için onun niyetini her zaman almış olması tabii ki daha mantıklı olur. Çünkü en az bir kişi de olsa, üç kişi de olsa kadın cemaate gelip katılıyor diye bilinen bir durumsa o zaman o kişinin imam olarak kadınlara imamlık yapmaya niyet etmesi zaten mantıklı. Yani öyle olması daha normal, beklenen bir şey olur. Ama böyle bir durum yoksa da yani faraza acaba bir işte kadınlar gelip katılır mı? Katılırsa da ben niyet etmiş olayım diye önceden niyet etmiş olmak acaba bütün mezheplerin kabul ettiği bir şey mi? Onu tam bilemiyorum. En azından şu anda o kısmı belki daha görmedik. Belki göreceğiz ileride bilemiyorum. Ama yani sizin söylediğiniz şey için zaten kişi öyle demişse o zaman hiçbir problem yok. Öyle gözüküyor. Ben de anladım daha doğrusu.
Evet hocam, doğru.
Evet, pekala. Okay. As for the Shafi'is, now we already read the Hanafi's ruling. As for the Shafi'is, they maintain that it is only necessary for the Imam to consciously intend to lead others in the following four situations. Shafi'is rule that there are certain situations for the Imam to consciously lead the others in the Salah as a necessity. That means it is not always necessary. That's what it means. For according to Shafi'is, it is not always necessary, okay, to lead the Salah for the followers, but it is necessary only for these four situations. That means the Imam, according to Shafi'i school of thought, Imam is required to make a conscious intention to lead the others in the Salah when there is Salatul Jummah. If the Imam is leading Salatul Jummah or is going to lead the Salatul Jummah, that means it is necessary for the Imam to consciously intend to lead others for the Salatul Jummah. Number two, when two prayers are being joined in advance. So that means it is taqdeem. That means you are making Salatul Asr at the time of Salatul Zuhr, or you are making Salatul Isha at the time of Salatul Maghrib. So you are combining two Salah, basically, okay, due to rain, right, for a legitimate reason, In this case, the Imam only needs to consciously intend to lead others in the second of the two prayers. According to Shafi'i, okay, if the Imam is intending to lead the Salah, to lead the two Salah, right, consecutively, because of a legitimate reason, so he is doing the taqdeem of Salah, basically. So he must intend to lead the second prayer. Okay, it's the second of the prayers. Since the first prayer, unlike the second, is being performed during its appointed time period. Because normally when as-salatu li waqtiha, right, according to this principle, as-salatu li waqtiha, the salah must be performed at its appointed time or designated time. That's why, but you don't necessarily have to make the intention for the prayer of the time, But if you are combining the two prayers, so you have to make the intention to lead the others for the second salah. That in this case it could be the Salatul Asr or Salatul Isha. You have to make the intention as the Imam to lead the people for Salatul Asr or Salatul Isha. For the first prayer, it is not necessary because it is already the prayer of the time. Number 3, when a prayer is being repeated in community during its appointed time period, okay, that means the prayer was already performed, but for some reason they concluded that it was not valid, so they are repeating the salah. They are making up the salah, the whole thing, basically, at the time of its time, basically. That means it is still the time for Salatul Zuhur, right? Let's say you made Salatul Zuhur with people, and then you guys figured out that there was something that didn't happen, and that's why your salah is not valid, and then now you are repeating the salah, but you are not postponing this to another time. You are doing it immediately after, okay, or before the next salah time comes. Okay, so this is another situation. That means you have to have the intention. Okay, that means it is only necessary for the Imam. Here at the beginning it says, let's remember this, according to Shafi'i, it is necessary for the Imam to consciously intend to lead others in the following 4 situations. That means these are the situations that the Imam is required to have the intention to lead these salah. Okay. Number 4, when it's a prayer that the Imam has vowed to perform in community, in which case he must consciously intend to lead others in order to be released from his vow. Okay. Vow yani burada şey yapmak, ahd etmiş olmak, yani söz vermiş olmak. In which case he must consciously intend to lead others in order to be released from his vow. If he neglects this intention, the prayer performed will be valid, but he will be guilty of wrongdoing until he repeats the prayer again in community and consciously intends to lead others in it. I'm not too clear on number 4 as far as like what kind of prayer that is. Any thoughts on this one, number 4? It's a prayer that the Imam has vowed to perform in community. Yani cemaat halinde kılmayı, yani cemaate namaz kıldırmayı şey yapmış, söz vermiş. Böyle bir durumda in which case he must consciously intend to lead others in order to be released from his vow. Okay, let me check something quick. Yeah. Wow. Nezir, adak. Yani demek ki e, farz bir namaz değil. Öyle anlaşılıyor. Farz bir namaz değil ama işte e, nafile bir namaz. Onu kıldırmak için e, cemaat halinde, cemaate namaz kıldırmak için e, adak adamış veya söz vermiş, neyse yemin etmiş. Öyle bir durum için. If he neglects this intention, the prayer performed will be valid. Bu durumda namaz geçerlidir. Fakat e, bir yani haksızlık yapmaktan dolayı şeydir, kusurludur. Until he repeats the prayer again in community and consciously intends to lead others in it. Eğer bundan dolayı yani sözünü tutmaz da sonradan şey yaparsa, sonradan aklı başına gelir veya işte insafa gelir de e, o namazı cemaate kıldırırsa ve e, bilinçli bir şekilde diğerlerinin imamı olmaya niyet ederse o zaman bundan dolayı suçlanmaz, sorumluluğu olmaz. Bu şekilde anladım ben. Okay. Next one is going to be the second obligation of prayer, which is tekbiratul ihram, or we call iftitah tekbiri, tekbiratul ihram, or the opening utterance of praise to God. Tekbiratul ihram. I think we should stop here because we have 5 minutes left. Once we start, then we're not going to be able to finish it. But I want to say something about this, or in general speaking, Tekbiratul Ihram, right? That's how it is mentioned in the text, basically. And we should get used to say these things, accordingly. Because when somebody asks you about Tekbiratul Ihram, and if you are not used to hearing this or saying this, you may struggle. What are you talking about, right? Tekbiratul Ihram. Because you are so used to iftitah tekbiri, right? That's why it is important to be aware of the existing terminology, especially like these Arabic terminologies, so that you can adequately understand what the other person is talking about. Am I making sense? Türkçe olarak dediğimi çevirebilir mi bir arkadaş?
Tekrar eder misiniz hocam?
Evet, diyorum ki yani tekbirat-ı ihram şey geçti ya burada. Mesela bizim literatürümüzde daha çok iftitah tekbiri diye geçiyor ya. Şimdi bu tekbirat-ı ihram iftitah tekbiri.
Ya birinci niyet farz, ikinci farzda iftitah tekbiri. Evet.
Yani demek istediğim şu, yani bu türlü tabirleri mesela Arapça burada tekbirat-ı ihram diye geçiyor ya. Eğer diliniz buna alışmamışsa, gözünüz bunu daha önce görmemişse, yani bunu hiç duymamışsanız, ki olabilir. Ben sizin duymadığınızı kastetmiyorum, yanlış anlamayın da. Hani alışkanlıktan ötürü hep iftitah tekbiri diye söylüyoruz ya biz. Namazın ilk başında yapılan ilk tekbir. İftitah tekbiri diye söyleniyor, değil mi? Zannediyorum siz de öyle söylüyorsunuz, değil mi? Öyle biliyorsunuz. Doğru mudur?
Evet.
Cevap evet. Yani iftitah tekbiri diye geçer hem bizim kaynaklarımızda çoğunlukla Türkçe şeylerde filan. Tekbiratul ihram e, diye ben pek gördüğümü hatırlamıyorum yani. Ama tabii o benim eksikliğim de olabilir, ayrı konu da, fakat bu konuda belki yalnız değilimdir diye söylüyorum. Yani bunlara alışmış olmak da önemli diye onu gündeme getirmek için konuşuyorum yani. Tekbiratul ihram. Yani, iftidah tekbiri derseniz bu sefer karşıdaki de iftidah tekbirine alışmamışsa o da sizi anlamamış olur. Dolayısıyla birbirinizi anlamama, karşılıklı birbirinizin anlamama ya da terminolojiyi bilmemek gibi yani ne bileyim yanlış bir şey bilmediğiniz bir şey söyleniyormuş gibi her iki taraf için de böyle bir durum olabilir. O açıdan diyorum yani. Tekbiratul ihram şeyine eğer alışık değilseniz bu konuda biraz daha farkındalık olsun. Yani söylüyorum. Meramımı anlatabildim mi bilmiyorum ama.
Evet hocam, bizim arkadaşlar Mısırlı, Pakistanlı arkadaşlar da ders yaparken onu görüyoruz. Bizde böyle diyorlar mesela. Bizde böyle. Orada bir açıklama yapıyor. İki dile de hakim olan arkadaş. Bu
Evet.
şekilde. Bizde Lübnanlı bir arkadaş var. Türkçe'ye de hakim. O bize öyle açıklıyor. Bizde bu şekilde ama diyor mesela, izah ediyor. Dediğiniz doğru hocam.
Tamam, ne güzel. Tamam o zaman. Yani meramım anlaşıldı. Evet. Tekbiratul ihram yani iftidah tekbiriyle aynı. Ondan sonra bu konuyla ilgili bunun farz olmasıyla ilgili konu geliyor bundan sonra. Şu ana kadarki namazın işte niyetiyle ilgili konuları konuştuk. Niyetin hem cemaat açısından hem imam açısından hem de hangi durumlarda e, niyetin önceden olmuş olması veya kimin için olmuş olması geçerli bu konuda mesela ne demiş onları görmüş olduk. E, Bundan sonraki kısımda da iftitah tekbiriyle ilgili e, şeyler konuşulacak. İnşallah oradan devam edeceğiz. Öyle anlaşılıyor. Ben buraya notumu alayım yine. E, Şimdi eğer e, şey yapalım, serbest kürsü diyelim. Eğer konuşmak isterseniz Türkçe veya İngilizce fark etmez. Bir müddet daha konuşabiliriz. Kalmak isteyenlerle. April 13.
Recording stopped.
Evet arkadaşlar, eğer söylemek istediğiniz şeyler varsa buyurun. Paylaşmak istediğiniz şeyler varsa.
Bu terminolojiyle alakalı şey yaparken bu şeyi hatırladım da bu en sonki cuma namazında imam böyle tevekküllü biraz anlatıyordu yanlış hatırlamıyorsam. Orada da bahsediyordu da İngilizcenin tam böyle yeterli olmadığını, bizim İslami terimlerin bu dile bir şekilde katmamız veya hani tabii ki belki şey olarak mümkün değil de dil kurumu gibi değil de en azından bunu aktif bir şekilde kullanmamız gerektiğini. Çünkü tam karşıtının genellikle olmadığı bu tarz şeyleri ifade ediyordu.